Hi, I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to The Fierce Files. Now, what I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is why I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. Now, I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your career, but in your life. And I want to make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com. Now grab your pen and get ready for today's session of The Fierce Files. We are replaying some of our favorite episodes from season 1 and 2. So take a listen to this episode and then mark your calendars for our season 3 premiere on Wednesday, September 4th. All right. Hello. Nicole Roberts-Jones here, and welcome to this episode of The Fierce Files. And, you have to know that most of the women that I'm interviewing are my sister friends, but this one right here, if you haven't buckled your seatbelt, you better get ready as I introduce you to Michelle Taylor Jones. Now, Michelle is a global diversity and inclusion leader at Dell Technologies. She oversees strategy, development, sponsorship, and so much more. But in addition to that, she is the former founder and CEO of the Taylor Group, which was a full-service diversity and inclusion practice. She has been, over the last 21 years, an expert and executive leader in talent management, executive recruiting, and diversity and inclusion. She's worked at places like Bank of America and Mass Mutual Insurance Corporation. Now, I could go on, but what you have to know is this woman has numerous honors, including being recognized by the Network Journal magazine as one of 25 most influential women in business. She's a sought-after speaker. She's been featured in Black Enterprise, Working Mother Magazine, The Huffington Post. She is the co-founder of Black Women of Influence, right? And she is just powerful in everything she does. She's an author. Her first book, Sonnets from My Soul, is a collection of inspirational poetry. And really, this woman has a gift of gab, and you're about to hear it. So help me welcome Miss Michelle Taylor Jones. Hey, Michelle.
Hello. Thank you so much, Nicole. That's amazing. So great to be with you.
I'm always excited to be with you. And the thing that I love, and I'm going to go right in because Michelle has a powerful story. And first, let me just say this out of the gate. The thing when Michelle and I talked about her being a part of the podcast, she was like, girl, I got to tell my story. And I love it because I wanted to ask her to do that. And the reason being is many of you that are listening to us, you are powerful at work. You are women that have the title, the corner office, you've had the career, you have everything you ever want. But at home, it's a different story. And so your conversation of going into your more really is a conversation of you finding your personal self over again. So tell us a little bit about your journey and really your experience of fighting for your more.
So, I think a lot of us, and I'll start with myself, reconcile work and home. Right? And so we talk about a brand. And so we create this brand, this perception. I'll even go as far as to say this illusion, that we have it all together. And here's what I know, and a whole lot of people listening know, we don't. We don't have it together. And so when we step into the office, we can wear that mask. We can be that executive, we can be strategic, we can, get it all done. But then when we get home, that mask doesn't work. We're humans that are dealing with very real things. And I think as women and particularly Black women, because I'll speak personally, we have trouble asking for help, or even sharing our story with others. And I think to our deficit, not being able to be just transparent and sharing your story. And in doing that, I found that so many women said, girl, I am dealing with the same thing. And so for me, it has just been a journey around being strong enough to stand in my personal story, but also reaching my arm back and snatching some of my sisters to say, you're not alone.
Right.
That's what's important.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us about now, and I love that you said that, because you can be powerful at work and you can still be going through, you can be in brilliance at work and break down at home. So tell us about that moment when you had that epiphany moment that you were in a place that you just had to get out of.
So it was a period in my life that I will call my pivotal journey. And up until that moment, I wasn't really able to say this, but I can say it now. It's my testimony. And it was a period in my life where I had a new job. I had just moved to a new state. I had one daughter in college. I had one son entering high school. My mom's dementia really started to escalate. And I was at a period in my life where I decided a separation in my marriage was what I needed to do. Now, when I step back and I have a conversation with myself, it goes like this. Really? You decided to do that in the midst of all of this? You couldn't wait? And the answer is there is no perfect time for growth.
But not only that, Michelle, was like in that moment, and dare I say this, I didn't even ask you permission, you were saving yourself in that moment.
Yes.
And so tell the ladies that are listening, if you don't mind, I want you to get personal because somebody needs your story today, to tell them what was happening in your marriage.
We're going to stop here and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like something is missing in your career? See, whether you love your job or you absolutely hate it, guess what? There's more for you. And maybe your more is that you want to begin a business to simply get paid for what you know and you're not sure where to begin. Or maybe you've started your business and you're not generating the income you desire and, quite honestly, you deserve. Regardless of where you are, what I've found is that all you really need is clarity. And actually, you need more than clarity. You need a roadmap toward living in your purpose and getting paid for it. So go to fierceroadmapquiz.com. See, I created the Fierce Roadmap Quiz so that you can get the clarity you need on where you are and the steps you need to move it forward now. So let's get you headed in the right direction on all the ways you should get paid for what you know. Go to fierceroadmapquiz.com.
So, I was married for 25 years. And, as many women, we can fix everything. And so if I tweak this, it's going to work. If I speak softer, that might work. If I don't ask, I went through the gamut. I went down the list and nothing worked. And I got to a point where it became more than just me. It was my children. And so it was, what is my daughter seeing? And what types of relationships will she have in the future? What was my son seeing? And what type of man will he become because this was his example? And so I needed to kind of step back and just realize that not just for me, but for everyone in this house, this is the best thing for all of us to do. And so, it's difficult because when you get on the other side of that, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. And let me stop you here because, I'm a child of a domestic violent relationship. So my father was abusive to my mom, God rest his soul, but he was a great dad, horrible husband, right? Yeah. And so, for every woman that's listening, and I think this is so important because I love that you started with saying that we wear a mask and you have everything together at work and you get home and you don't think you're going to get hit when you get home. It's like, what the heck? Right. What's going on? Wait a minute.
That's right.
And the first time you think, oh, he's just having a moment. And then the second time you're still in shock and you can't believe this is the brother that you said yes to because you didn't say yes to that.
That's right.
And every minute so tell us, a little more about just coming to grips with the fact that this man that you married, that became, I always tell my girlfriends that end up having a divorce, the man, you realize that you had married the representative and then the real man showed up.
Well, there were signs of this before marriage, but we try to rationalize it. We're both young, we're immature. Things will change as you get older. But then there becomes another set of circumstances that can set folks off. My career started to take off. His didn't as much. My income projected. There's always, and so in that moment, I believe you either grow together or you grow apart. And as you grow apart, there will be elements and episodes and things that happen that continuously remind you that this may not be the best space for you. And I fought back for a while. I said, nope, I can fix this. I can make this work. And I got to a point in my life where I was just tired. I was tired. And I really had to make a decision. And it was a decision to selfishly care about myself, which is what the world teaches you not to do. You need to care about others and sacrifice yourself. But in that moment, I had to care about me, because in caring about me, that meant I could take care of my children.
And as you were just saying, that
what made sense.
The visual that just came in my mind as you were saying that is when we're on an airplane, that tells us to put our mask on ourselves first.
Yes.
But what we do as women, especially women of color, right?
Yep.
We will take care of everybody else. I love that you said that. And then we'll be worn out. We'll be tired. You're trying to fix your husband. You're trying to fix your marriage when he is not trying to fix anything.
Yeah. Yep. And so it became a retraining of putting yourself first, not because you are selfish, but because you deserve to be first. You do. You deserve. And sitting in that space and being comfortable in knowing that it is okay that you take time for yourself. It is okay that you want to sit on the beach with the sunrise and just be still. It's okay. It's okay to take care of your mental and spiritual health, because that's what's important.
Right. And so as you began to make this new choice for yourself and walking away from a marriage that just wasn't working, right? Which I know was a hard choice. And we're talking about it quickly, but I know it was a hard choice. You had children involved and how did you begin to see your new self emerge? Because I know making the decision was hard, but I also know that as you walked into this newness, you began to learn more about Michelle.
Well, it's amazing, because now that I'm on the other side, what I can tell you is it's a rebirth. It's my chapter 2. It's my next level. And I am so excited. But what I have to share is, and so many women are in this space, which is why this is so important. I laid on my bed and looked up in the ceiling and I said to myself, what? 2 children, this big job in a new state, all these puzzle pieces that are scattered. And I have to put them back together, not for just me, but for 2 other lives that depend on me, that scared me to action. Not to death, but to action. And that is the difference. That is the tipping point for women. For women who that scares them to death, they stay paralyzed, they stay in fear. They're not trusting. They don't reach out to others. All that you need to do to get to the other side. So it scared me to action to the point where I over-indexed on succeeding. I went in. I told myself failure is absolutely, positively not an option. Mm-hmm. And I believed myself.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to start there.
And was that really your first time in believing in yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Up until that point, I did not have a care in the world. I lived at home. After home, I got married. I mean, I I didn't have a testimony. I did not have a problem. I I had always lived in the same state. I mean, when I tell you everything that could have shifted in my life shifted all at once, that is exactly what has happened. And 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 I know that that was designed to have me reach inside of myself and pull out all that was deposited throughout my life, all that, my mother told me, and all that I had heard, and all that I had seen. We have deposits. And until we have to go and take something out, we don't realize that it's there. And I'm just so thankful that when I got to a space in my life that I needed to reach inside and pull out what I needed to survive, everything was there.
But
Everything was there.
and how did you, what's interesting is it's all there, but for so long, we don't even know it's there. So do you remember the moment did you have like an epiphany or aha where you just all of a sudden said, it's there and I know what to do? What did that look like?
So I'm a planner, I'm a writer, I'm an organizer. So I had to lay this out like a blueprint. I said, this is what I need to do for the children. This is what I need to do for my career. This is what I need to do for me. And I started to make a list under every single heading of what I needed to do to make those pillars in my life whole. And I created a plan and I executed. So I took practical experience from my professional life and I applied it to my personal life. And I attacked it just like the project that I would work on at work. But this time, the project was me.
Ooh, that's so good. And so many of us never stop long enough to realize that our own self is, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say, is a project.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Literally.
Absolutely.
And so I love that. Is literally making your own self a priority and making it a project and taking it piece by piece. You don't have to always say to my clients, you don't have to buy you can't eat the whole pie. You don't even eat a whole slice. You take one bite.
And I think that's what makes most people overwhelmed.
Yep.
Because they're trying to think and create solutions around everything all at once. And you cannot. You have to decompartmentalize everything. Put everything in a space where you say, tomorrow I'm going to look at the pillar that's focused on my children. I need to get Alyssa through college. I need to make sure Tyler's okay with football practice. But I need to make sure I can get approved for that mortgage. That's everything you need to do in that pillar. And you focus on that and you go deep. Now, in doing that, there's a couple of things that are absolutely key. And that is, you need to take off your Superwoman cape because guess what? You can't do it by yourself. You can't. You just can't. And that means sometimes you have to sit in a space that is very uncomfortable because that means you have to ask for help. That means you have to tell people your story. That means people know you're not perfect. These are all the things that's going to make you so uncomfortable that it's going to make you apprehensive to move forward. But you have to get over yourself.
Yep. That's so good.
You just have to get over yourself.
That's good. So that's number one. Look, she giving us steps. You have a number two?
Yes, I do. Network. Find everybody in your network that can help you get what you need. Call them. I know I haven't called you in 6 months, but here's why. I know we had a disagreement a year ago, but let's reconcile because here's what I need. Tap into your network. You can't do it all by yourself.
That's good.
The third, visualize your outcome. I did that every night. I laid in my bed. I visualized Alyssa walking across the stage at Spelman College. I visualized that. So I knew every single tuition payment needed to be made because that was my vision. So visualize that. Visualize that in your temporary situation, you may be renting somewhere to stay, but visualize that house because that's what you want. That's what you had. Visualize that. See yourself having Thanksgiving and celebrating that moment with your children. So I truly believe visualization really helps to concrete, make your plan concrete. And fourth, which seems most obvious to everyone, but it isn't, and that is surround yourself with positivity. There are so many negative influences. Girl, you should have left. And girl, why are you trying to? And you're doing too much. And you're trying to write a book. And you got children. That is their limited vision for your life. Their limited vision. You can't buy into that.
And then sometimes when you have such a huge vision, if you buy into their negativity, it hinders you from, because you already are second guessing yourself because it's hard.
Absolutely.
So they water that seed instead of, I love that you said visualize your outcome. So here's the thing. When you visualize your outcome, it doesn't mean that you, and I dare I say it this way, you believe in that moment that it's possible. And what I mean by that is you're going to be afraid of it. You're going to second guess yourself. But if you keep saying, I think I can, like what's that little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can. When you have the negative people around you that are saying, girl, no, you can't, it's going to hinder you from getting to it.
And what I have to tell you is, here's the other side of that. Be prepared to not have people like you. Because here's the thing. They have decided what you can and cannot achieve. That's a definite for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you don't fit into their image of who they think you're supposed to be, they're going to be mad.
And here's the other end of that, and the same coin, right? Be prepared for people not to like you. Look, I'm writing notes too, not to like you. Got to write you. So here's the other end of that same conversation. Sometimes when you're playing a bigger game, what happens is you rumble that up in other people. And if they don't believe they can do it, they're hating on you, not because of what you're doing, but because they don't believe in themselves.
Absolutely.
And what gets produced is,
Exactly.
And that's when the people start acting like they don't like you, but really what it is they don't like themselves.
You better go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
So this has been so good, Michelle, and you've been so transparent. I want to thank you for it. So if you guys missed any of the 5, let me repeat them. Number 1, take off your superwoman cape and ask for help. Number 2, tap into your network. And I love, by the way, number 2, because you've got to be willing to be transparent. You got to stop trying to act like everything's perfect, because ain't nobody perfect. And by the way, when you perfect, Michelle, when you say me, see next to Jesus, because that's where you'll be.
Exactly.
Number 3, visualize your outcome. Number 4, surround yourself with positivity. And then number 5, be prepared for people not to like you. So good. So good. Yes. Now, in closing, is there anything else you want to close out and impart to the ladies listening in?
You know, I guess the last thing I would say is, it is possible. It is possible. Even though it may feel overwhelming, fearful, impossible, I am sitting in this testimony today to tell you, I know it is all possible. Yes.
And what we know for sure from your story is that you deserve to be first. So thank you, Michelle, for not only choosing yourself to be first, but also being committed to your children to be first, and to every woman that's listening, that she too knows that she deserves to be first. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, I want you to walk away from these episodes with value, so grab your pen and answer either one or all 3 of these questions. Number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do differently as a result of what you heard? So you may have heard something you've already heard before, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different because of what you heard. Number 3, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you.
Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So what was something that showed you that you're headed in the right direction? Now, I want you to share your answers. Share your answer to either number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do different? Or number 3, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com and use the hashtag #FierceFiles. Now, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into our community to deepen our journey with being the answer someone needs and in being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and be fierce.